Probably open my soda door so it doesn't sound like there's a beer behind the speaker.
You know how that goes.
That'd be the chairs up there.
I'm not gonna talk, but. You have a script?
I don't want to come back every 3 years.
That's right.
Oh, you got it?
I just flat though, it's not red.
No, but I definitely stutter at the beginning of it, and I did a second, where I didn't stutter, and I didn't use that one. So, and I, and you were.
Oh, that's next time.
And like, you were like, and I was like.
I'm open to suggestions. Let's do a new number.
Yeah, and there's like the first part of it, like, I'm like, moving the shape, and but I like.
Do an extended number.
Yeah, like, I look like a baby person. No, we're in here.
I'm planning on going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Stand up, shake somebody.
No.
Yep. Yeah. I could get
Yeah, I'll bet all the way.
No.
I
It was awesome.
Seriously.
Yeah, yeah.
Cover up for some crime.
Your Mansfield?
Good evening. 6:30. Let's call this meeting to order. With starters, nothing for executive session?
Nope.
Okay, so let's move right to Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. I'd like to take a motion to approve the minutes from the November 14th regular meeting. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Okay. Opening comments. Superintendent Turk?
The only thing that I wanted to point out, and it's a reminder more than anything, we had talked about it for a couple of meetings now, our ability to provide free breakfast and lunches starts this Friday. So we had made some announcements out to the general public, starting tomorrow in the buildings. We'll also have morning announcements made to make sure that the children understand what they are able to do and not to do. So we're happy to be able to provide that. Look forward to being able to ensure nutritious meals for all of our kids. So just wanted to remind you that that's going to start on Friday.
I skipped over, because I'm new to this, I did skip over any of my comments. I didn't have any.
Still time.
There is plenty of time. Let's move right into our board presentation.
Yes, we have Mr. Pascarella and Mrs. Hammis here with us, and a nice cadre of our outstanding elementary school teachers. I'll turn it over to Mr. Pascarella.
So, I don't want to be long-winded, so I'm just going to turn it over to Mrs. Hammis, who we're really lucky and proud to have. She's put together a committee, and those members are with her tonight. So, without further ado, Mrs. Hammis, our vice principal here our assistant principal here at the elementary.
Thank you, Mr. Pascarella. Thank you to the PTO. They set out all of our snacks, so please help yourself. Before we click play, because as you know, our kids are too little to be here, although my kid almost was because my husband's stuck on 81. Yeah, not great. But I just want to give a special shout out to our movie stars who are here. So we have Kristen Hayes from pre-K. You'll also see Daniel Frem in the video. Thank you to Michelle Mahoney from kindergarten. Whitney Funk is here from first grade. And we have Carissa Rockwell from second grade. So thank you to all of you. And also our committee that helped with all of the brainstorming and the planning on like what we were going to talk about tonight. You guys want to introduce yourselves since you're here?
Chrissy Burkett, instructional coach for the elementary building.
And Jacqueline Davis, the school psychologist with K-15.
Carissa Rockwell, second grade chair.
So without giving you any more information right now, I think we should watch the video and let that feel.
Palmer Elementary School is taking a new approach to social-emotional learning through Second Step, a program researched and developed by the Committee for Children. Second Step reaches more than 24 million children worldwide each year, empowering them with the social skills they need for life. Social-emotional learning provides children with tools to appropriately manage and express emotions, including empathy, emotional maturity, and teamwork. Here in Homer, Second Step aims to provide structure for students and educators to build on students' social emotional learning from grade to grade.
They learn a lot about who they are, that everybody's imperfectly perfect, and what do we do when we make mistakes, and that's how it starts, and I think it's wonderful. And then it grows into talking about your emotions and what does it mean to be proud of yourself and recognize your own emotions and put words with those. And then it gets into how do we help other people, and then from there it goes into problem solving.
We're all having common language around what social emotional learning looks like, and it's not just staff having that knowledge and vocabulary and language around it, it's students too.
I can do this, make a small change, or I can't do this yet. I'll keep trying.
And while the program is only a few months old thus far, the impact on students is already evident.
With this program, it's really helpful because they start off in pre-K, kindergarten, all the way up, and it's just helping them build on their different social emotional skills, with being able to identify when they're struggling, what they can do when they're struggling, how they're feeling, and expressing themselves to their friends. You know, saying, oh, I'm not really liking that, that's making me upset, can you please stop? It's really helpful because they need to know how to express themselves in a way that's healthy.
We are so impressed with how patient they are with each other, because they're all talking about their feelings and taking turns talking about that, really thinking about it. It's really opening them up, I think, and helping them to relate different emotions, and it's expressing themselves is okay.
Ears are listening, voices quiet, bodies calm. This is how we listen, this is how we listen.
For more information on the Second Step Social Emotional Learning Program, please visit www.secondstep.org.
Thank you. I will open it up to discussion and everything in just a second, but really we just wanted to make sure that we shared the one thing, which is we're really proud that every classroom is starting this program. So they're at different places, but every single class in the building is doing Second Steps. And we're noticing, really like a great change in our kiddos, and excited for when we do full implementation, what that can mean for our building. Any questions or anything? And I know that I have all of these brilliant minds that can help build it.
What's the most, what are the changes you're seeing that are, most beneficial? What's the biggest change you're seeing?
So, from the whole picture lens, because I see
Yeah,
that bigger picture. So we did the social emotional screener just about a week and a half to 2 weeks ago, and I would say looking at the data of that, and I will present them soon to all of the teachers, but you can definitely see where the growth is with many of our students, and there are more students, I think, than last year. I need to compare, but there are more students that appear to fall within that typical needs, which to me, when you have that program, that's going to help with that.
I think from the classroom perspective, the students are starting to take initiative for themselves to be more proactive in trying to problem solve or identify those feelings, and doing that with their peers. And if they're not at that point to be able to communicate that with their peers, they're at least doing that with me. So when I'm having conversations privately with them, they are starting to put an emotion name with their feelings. And so that's telling me that what I've taught so far is working, and we're on our way to those building blocks.
Do you find that they are labeling their emotions correctly? And I only ask this because last week I had one of my sons talk to me about his emotions, and when I asked him more questions, it wasn't anxiety that he felt, but that was his default that he was using. I'm feeling anxious. And so I asked him more, and it wasn't actually anxiety, it was a completely different feeling. I'm curious if you're running into mislabeling, and if you're correcting them when it's mislabeled, or how you're handling that part of it. Because anxiety is sort of a default that we hear a lot. So I'm just curious, what's your perception on that?
Does anyone take it?
Good question.
Sorry, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, it's a
Just
good
I was
question.
anxious. You're not
Right.
that anxious was what he
I
chose.
think they're starting to get introduced to more terminology like that. I think most young kids are used to the basics. Happy, sad,
So that's where
mad.
you're at.
So you're
Building
starting
up.
to hear some of the more vocabulary, and I think they're still trying to explore how
Yes.
it's used and if it's correct. So I think you are gonna see some of that, because they're just trying to make the transition from some of those very basic feelings to what else they might be experiencing.
Yeah, well, and I think too, to expand on that, I think when you're at the beginning stages, I think they're going to start hearing some things they haven't heard yet, and over time, as they're exposed to it more often and at a deeper level, they'll be able to be more specific and be more accurate. But the idea that they're trying to find a new voice that's perhaps for some of them they didn't have a way to communicate it before, pretty powerful stuff. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear so quickly you're starting to see that being used, some of the information from the lesson.
I think it's nice is that even if you're starting the conversation because they got it wrong, the fact that some more kids are now starting to have conversations where they're even trying to identify it is, you know, that's the first
that's a
step.
bonus, yeah.
So that's a big one, but I think you are definitely gonna see some of that, especially in some of our young ones. I think the hope is, because it's pre-K, you know, could be pre-K 12, that over time, you just keep getting that repetition of those same concepts and terminologies, and it builds on itself as they go over. They have great toolboxes for how to speak about it.
I would add that it's not only a great toolbox for students, but it's a great toolbox for the adults that are working with our adults, because it gives us common language to use, like, you know, it was talked about in the video, that like whether you're in the cafeteria or the classroom or the bus, using the same language is really important, because then kids have that consistency, and then they, you know, just becomes ingrained in them. So that's really important for us, the adults.
I think part of it too, we're still in the pilot phase, so some of this would be then, how do we start, or what information is going on with families as a part of this too, so that as they're learning stuff, you know, it can get reinforced at home, and you guys know what they're trying to get to, if they're having these conversations, so.
I think owning your emotions is a high level of responsibility, and I think it's great.
Other questions for anybody? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Brings us to new business. Reports from the Committee on Preschool Special Education. Motion to approve the reports from the Committee on Preschool Special Education. Any questions? Chris? All those in favor? Those opposed? Any abstentions? Reports from the Committee on Special Education. Motion to approve the reports from the Committee on Special Education. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Brings us down to disposal of items. Motion to approve the disposal of items from the high school and the food service and building and grounds departments. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Tax collection. Okay. Motion to approve the 2023-2024 tax collection report.
Second.
All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Yeah. Now down to donations. Motion to accept.
Hey, before we go, can you just hand me that? Kelly thinks that you all need to sign it.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so why don't we start it? Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Motion to accept the donations to FFA in the amount of $250 and $100. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Personnel. Motion to approve personnel as recommended by Superintendent Turk. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions?
Not at all. You just sign your piece, pass it down. Informational items?
We are down to informational items.
Okay, we got some fundraising updates for you. For the class of 2026, very busy. They've got a couple things. They're going to be selling some Homer blankets and some Corn Ducky Derby tickets. And the class of 2027, we're going to be selling some cover. The other thing that we wanted to talk about is the school visit process. When we had our workshop a few weeks ago, it was brought up that this might be something that we want to do. So hopefully tonight, what we can accomplish is, one, we can decide as a group, as a board, if this is something we want to do. And then my second thing I'd like to accomplish tonight is make a recommendation that we establish a group to work on it, a subgroup that would work relatively quickly. The makeup I would suggest would be a couple of board members, a couple of administrators, two staff members, and then one person from the district office. Could potentially be me, could be Jeff, could be, someone else, Kelly, yeah. So let's start with the concept first. To refresh, not everybody was there, I don't think, but to refresh everyone's memory, I think, Megan, it was you that had been invited into a classroom, which we think it's a great idea. But the one thing I had said that night, and we talked about it for a while, is whenever we do anything, I think it's good for us to be thoughtful about it, and to really make sure that it does what we want it to do. And so why don't we start the conversation with, is this something that the board wants to do? And let's start there, and then we can talk about the second piece of that. Is there anybody that's opposed to it? To formally, okay. So what I would ask for, you don't need to tell me tonight necessarily, but a couple of you, anybody interested in serving on that group, just let me know now or give me an email, and we'll get that group together right away, because what I'd like to be able to do is between now and our first or second meeting in January, come back to the board and say, here's what we think would work. And the type of thing I'm thinking of, and I mentioned them that night. One is, it's a positive thing, and I want it to be a positive thing, and I want to make sure it's clear why we're doing it, and why we're not doing it, probably just as importantly. And I don't think this is going to take a long time for us to talk about, but I would rather be able to do it thoughtfully, and then communicate it to everybody so that everyone's on the same page. Does that make sense? Okay.
How many folks do you anticipate you'll
Well,
want to see on?
well, this was just my idea, and I'm open to that. So, I thought we wanted representation from the board, representation from the administrative group, representation from the staff who will be visiting, right? And then just someone from the district office, and whether that's me, Jeff, or someone else that might kind of just facilitate it and make sure it kind of gets us where we want to go. That was my thought, but I'm open to other thoughts. I don't think you have to have a lot of people, but I think you want to have representation from the various groups. So that would be my recommendation. Does that sound reasonable? Okay. So again, you want to just email me? I know Aaron, when we had talked about it the other day, he thought that you would want to be considered. Yep. So if you want to just let me know, or let Eddie know tonight, or email me tomorrow, and then we'll get this thing going. That sound good? Okay, other thoughts about it? Questions about it? Yeah.
Beth Krause was one of the persons specifically, I remember, at the retreat that said,
Yeah.
we would like to see staff.
Yeah, what I typically do with
Does she know about it, the option to be a part of it?
Not yet, no, because I wanted to talk to you folks first. But what I plan to do is what we always do. I'll get with the Jen Greenfield and Rob Nishaka from the HTA. But I also think, just as importantly, we have somebody from our TA group, because they're in classrooms with it. So I think what we'll probably do is get one-on-one. It's kind of what I was thinking. But we'll see. And again, I'm not opposed to having a few more, but again, I think anytime. What's that?
It seems like you want the staff member.
Well, we can be thoughtful about the administrators that take part too. Again, I think we have an opportunity to, to have the initial conversation with the representative group we put together, give them a task of going to their individual buildings too during a faculty meeting or whatever and talk to the group to get some additional feedback, rather than try to have more people than we need at the meeting. So I think it's important to hear from folks, but I think that's probably the best mechanism to do it.
I think, just going along with what Ian said though, like in the planning phases, I think it would be helpful just for the staff knowing how their building functions to be on that planning committee.
Well, what is, yeah.
I think maybe was.
No, no, I understand, but and again, what I would say to that is, what I would want to do is have our first meeting with the group and say, we want to know what the buildings think about what that best format might be for their particular building. And they can go back, have that wide discussion with everybody, bring us back that feedback. That way we get more feedback than just one elementary school's person's perspective, right? So the goal is to try to gather as much information as we can in a reasonable amount of time.
What would your goal be as far as when this would actually go into action?
Well, really, we need to get it back to you folks, and like I had mentioned earlier, I think January is a reasonable time frame. That's the one we talked about the other day.
Just start being present in classrooms, or?
No.
No, to make the recommendation to the board about this is the format we think makes the most sense, let you all consider it as a group, and then once we do that, we're off and running. So reasonably, in February, we could be rolling, and that's kind of the goal.
Our fear was between now and the end of the year, we were only gonna get together maybe twice more. We just wasn't sure that we could actually deliver anything by then, so.
Yeah, this way having the subgroup works well.
A realistic opportunity for people.
Yeah, because again, I think the key piece too, after the group does its work, it's doing a good job of making sure everybody knows what we're doing. So that when it's a positive thing, which is what we all want. So, but again, I don't think that takes very long, especially if we consider the buildings, what their thoughts are on the front end. Okay, anything else with that? All right, good, look forward to that.
Brings us down to public comment.
Okay. Hi, I'm Arlene Dean. I was here 2 weeks ago, and at that time I was not aware that I could hand in information. Last time I was talking about the need to raise the substitute teaching pay. This time I brought my communication I had with Tom Turk back in the middle of October. I also brought a listing of every pay in the districts in Cortland County for certified and non-certified teachers, as well as the non-county schools I'm currently also subbing in of Tully and Dryden. My hope is that you are going to take this seriously. I'm not the only one mad about this, but I guess I'm the only one or a few that's willing to talk about it publicly. Others, substitutes, are fearful they're going to get fired if they come and present their concerns about this. Every day that I'm subbing in Homer, I'm at a loss of $20, $25, or $40 a day compared to the other districts that I'm working. And your frontline substitute system is set up, and 4 out of my 5 schools are on that once you take a job on that system, you don't see any other jobs for that same day. Marathon used to be on that system, on the OCM BOCES eSolutions, which years ago you were on too, and I would get calls for Marathon. I'm still currently getting calls through that system for Tully. And I'm daily getting calls for Tully that I'm having to say no to because I have Homer jobs. Homer teachers are great about inputting in advance the need for substitute teachers, but by taking these advanced jobs, I'm blocking myself out from the availability of taking higher paying jobs. And I'm thinking I should stop doing that. I'm told that there are still daily jobs available even the day of the position being available. What I really would like to see is that your board put this on the agenda for your next board meeting and have discussions, and prior to that, getting together with Mike Falls, with the administration, and seeing if you could come up with some funds. It's just inconceivable to me that that your district, being the highest tax base rate in the county, can think it's okay to be paying certified substitute teachers $110 a day, which is comparable to minimum wage, to what a 16-year-old is earning working at Burger King and McDonald's. Every other district in this county is paying at least $135, and Marathon for certified teachers paying $150 a day. If these small districts, poor districts, rural districts can come up with $135 a day, $150 a day to pay certified teachers that amount of money, it certainly seems as though your district could.
Eileen,
Okay.
I really appreciate it, but
Okay.
you know we have to stick to our bylaws
Okay.
here. We've only got the 2 minutes.
But you want to hand that out.
If you could,
I'm
we
going to
would love
hand
to
this-
look at it. That's
I'm
great
going to
information.
hand this in, and I would hope that your district will decide by the beginning of next year to at least
Thank you
raise
very
the fee to what every other district is paying, a certified teacher $10 more, and someday in the future, this school year, to at least raise it to the $135 a day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arlene.
That was the only public comment that I had. Was there anybody else that hadn't had a chance to sign in, that wanted to speak? Okay. That brings us to board committee reports.
We have no board committee reports. I do want to let you know that we have dates for each of the 3 strategic plan committees. We'll formally send those out to the committees tomorrow, but in case you wanted to jot those down that you're on. The Community Engagement Committee will meet on December the 11th at 5:30 p.m. We're going to start with virtual meeting and then discuss with each group about whether or not they want to be in person, which would be my preference, but we'll start with a virtual opportunity. So Community Engagement, 12/11 at 5:30. Student Engagement, 12/12 at 4 p.m. And the Social Emotional Group, 12/14 at 3:30 p.m. But again, you don't have to commit that to memory, but we'll be sending those, and I'll share the committee list of what you had signed up for before. I'll share that with you when I send it out, just to refresh everybody's memory. Say again?
In person or virtual, did you say that?
I can't hear you.
Are they gonna be in person or virtual?
The first one's gonna be virtual. And then we'll talk to the group, we've done that before, we'll talk to the group about, is this the preferential way to me, you know, and see if we can get some kind of consensus. But I'm a fan of doing what we're doing right now, sitting in the same room. But if it really isn't gonna work for somebody, we can still do, we can do things virtually all the time, right? Okay.
Okay, district committee reports, we just went through that.
Yep.
School community items. Board member activities. Anybody want to volunteer what they did for Turkey Day?
Well, Saturday night we did help out with my cotillion, and that was great. The students were really great, but the parents did an amazing job transforming that space into, it was just incredible. The whole thing was incredible. It was really great time.
I'm still trying to figure out, all right. Because I'm not from Homer initially, so I've had to ask my wife, all right, what is the cotillion? How is that different from homecoming and from prom? I'm still figuring it out.
It's a nice mix. You never know when you bring Homer and Clemson together.
It's not a school event.
Yeah.
It's a community event run by parents. That's the biggest thing that I appreciate you mentioning our work is it's not ours.
Yeah.
It's a true community.
The kids were great, the parents were great.
It's a nice tradition.
All right, upcoming events.
We have 2 opportunities this week for you to hear our kids showcase their stuff. Tomorrow night, Steps 3rd grade at the intermediate school kicks it off with the music showcase. Look forward to that. I'm going to get to see it tomorrow during the day and tomorrow night, so look forward to that. And then on Thursday, the high school instrumental concert at the high school. So hope you're able to to attend those, and then we move right into next week and we'll be rolling with more of them. But it's awesome, awesome time of the year. Kids work awfully hard leading up to it, and so it's always nice to see all their hard work come to fruition. So a lot going on, all good stuff.
With that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Always gets a laugh, doesn't it?
All those in favor?
Thank you, everybody.